Chapter 40. To Awe a God. They stand, brow tethered to brow, one glaring directly down as though at the precipice of a deadly drop, venerating in his perception of fall and pit capable of his end. The other directly up, as though infinity were both his opponent and his partner in dance to an immortal symphony, denied to the evanescent until this silently deafening moment. Their visions, clamped, linked and entangled, each to the deepest depths of their respective beings. No words are spoken. All that need be said comes only after their scrupulous dissection of one another. Tiamattu settled upon the emptiness beneath him, Rilindor on the edge before it.
You are the child whose very birth was a death sentence, and yet you endured and chose to live nevertheless. I shared this burden with you.
Tiamattu's first words to Rilindor fall from his lips in an innocuous tonality.
Yes, I am he,
Rilindor responds.
Your individual suffering is greater than that of an entire civilization's. Perhaps it is more than that of all creations. So, how is it that there exists a mighty speck of divinity in you, being that you are chiefly mortal? Peculiar. That spark, that flicker, that flame, it is uncaused, unmade, uninfluenced. There is but one being who is thus, and who is self-sustained and perfect by his very nature. And yet, being as he is, or perhaps you are him.
Here he chuckles and shakes his head as though he realizes that absurdity parts from his lips.
Though this I very much doubt. You manage and choose to bear the tremendous onus of the reality he created. Why?
The perplexed god asks.
Life is precious,
Rilindor responds, again keeping his dialogue short, wasting no words when speaking truth as not to clog it unnecessarily. Tiamattu, displeased with his answer, sits cross-legged upon the frozen air. Rilindor mirrors him.
I will humor your limited and narrow perspective. I will not raise or invoke my experience as an immortal deity against your reasoning. Instead, I will honor your continual sacrifice, for I have within me a hint of the reason Yalum chose you. However, the fullness of that grand schemata is hidden from me. I wish to feel the whole unadulterated malignancy of your suffering. Will you indulge me?
The pale god peers fiercely into his soul.
I will.
There they sat, the minutes and hours drizzling down and passing in the motion of the dawn of spring and the thawing of rivers that leads to exonerate and move the blockage of now floating debris from their paths, so that they may freely spill into their rightful waterfalls and travel to their appropriate destinations. The drops hit sparsely, outlining the first draft of their story. Nothing worth reading yet, but from the humidity one knows that the penning has begun and that heavy rain, too, is coming. The weighty gates to Rilindor's decay have been cracked. As they drift further ajar, the drips and drops become as a familiar occurrence to me, indistinguishable individually, but undeniable in their totality. And now they drum chaotically. Yes, I know this feeling well. I had experienced this at the conclusion of my final bout with Saba. The area within the prophet's immediate radius deteriorates catastrophically, in comparison to his outer reach, which lags in its decay the farther from the source that it is. Tiamattu's skin begins to erode as Eviar's did, the layers of his composition rising into a vanishing ash. His muscles become undone, fiber by splitting fiber. His bones once again reacquainted with the wind. But unlike from the orbital cannon of they too struggled to keep solid, fracturing and fragmenting. The ridge underneath Rilindor collapses, but Tiamattu, in a dumbfounding act of altruism, materializes a platform of ice to intercept and save him. Relindor, as though foreseeing this, did not once stray from his composure and focus. They continue, the receiving glacier melting from the radiation and cyclically being reformed by the god. The Tamas Salvadaya himself begins to succumb to his own potency. The bandages and hood that cover his anatomy are shrinking, folding inwards and layering. He is wasting away like all that is around him. What's strange is the peculiarity that his attire itself does not deteriorate. If my sight is true and my suspicions justifiable, he is directing his ability around his clothing. I believe he's doing thus as an initiative of mercy as to shield us from his death. However, I garner an abnormal certainty that he wishes Eviar to remember him as he's always known him, and not solely as some martyr, or even as the Salvadaya. Eviar was his only companion and faithful friend. There is no one else capable and deserving of that title. The masses from this day forth will surely dub Relindor a savior, prophetically and poetically thus. But only Eviar can remember him as a friend.
Oh, Death, why is it that you come unannounced, knocking, banging, then kicking in our doors ought we refuse to invite you in? We pour no drinks for you, nor do we cook any meal in your name. We do not conduct feasts of welcome, for your belly is bottomless and your appetite limitless. We have no gate sturdy enough, no lock of quality, no sentry formidable to you. We may set up watchtowers and ring warning bells of your coming if we are fortunate in seeing you at the horizon. Alas, it is all done in a futility, for we cannot halt your creeping advance. You may come and go as you please, take whatsoever and whosoever it is that you desire, and you are never obliged to explain nor even to simply tell of your doings. By rot or blade, water or fire, sickness or poison, you are heralded. Why must you answer any of these? Is it they that have authority over you, or you them? Ah, I may curse you until the very day you come for me. However, my insults hurt you not. It is of no matter. You see, the character you have taken from us just now, I believe he shall prove too heavy for even you to carry off to wheresoever you deliver the rest. The logic in this is not of my making, nor is it explicable, nor is it intelligible by any account save his own. Nevertheless, I promise you that it simply is as I say it is.
In my everlasting nature, I have obliterated entire worlds and slipped the ironclad grip of the bleakest void wells. I have absorbed the most debilitating of cosmic rays, and have slain legendary celestial beasts. I have dined with death, and swallowed stars on the brink of detonation in a single gulp. And in all of my eternally damned memories, I have never felt a flame so small that could yet consume everything, had it not a master to tame it.
Tiamatu parts ways with Relindor by these words.
And aside from your double-edged power, your suffering is not in vain.
In that moment a rain fell, and it did thus gently, and it was a salty rain, as though all of creation wept and grieved for the now late Salvadaya. Though already great, the implications of this event by insoluble means bears a boundless weight, far heftier than I or anyone can fathom. By what medium that I know to question or magnify its scale is of a grand mystery to me. The born sufferer has passed. He is as the vapor in the breeze, and his garments deserted like rags upon the hoar-frost. His platform, that deathbed of ice, is reduced to a fine mist, and the pale god is left in his awe and in profound contemplation. Eviar gropes the retreating ashes of his master as they pass him in the wind, eating his own sorrow and exuding resolution. In that same wind which now reaches me, the torn cloak belonging to the late Salvadaya falls into my hands. I am stranded with the notion that I have lost not one, but two teachers today. May it be the will of the Mother Well, and whosoever steers and stirs her, to reunite my soul with theirs again.